And here we are again for the Elite Series League of Legends 2nd Division. Tonight, we've already had one game, and now we're gonna head into the second, but of course, I will not be alone for that endeavor. As Frostana is still by my side, welcome back, Frostana. There we go.
Yeah, it's nice to be here. It's always nice to be here with you, especially, and especially after such a great game. I'm hyped to see what Aurora and Dynasty will do for us today, because both teams definitely want to fight Dynasty for the playoff spots, and Aurora to not get into the playoff spots, I would say. So that's the reason why they both will play their hardest, and it's just an interesting matchup, definitely.
Yes, of course, especially since with this first game, Oma showed some pretty powerful moves in the Rift, and they've now been able to pull themselves, at least temporarily, back to the first spot in alongside Rift Slavs. Their match still having to be played, of course. But Dynasty definitely wants to be right behind them, or rather than behind them, be next to them and not fall back, while Aurora definitely wants to win to demark themselves of those two last spots and maybe get a shot at the playoffs still, because the point difference between them and Pertinax as well as Reapers is only 2 points, so it's 2 wins away from them. That's really not a big difference and definitely still playable for them. So yeah, we should be in for another intense match here at the Elite Series 2nd Division.
Yeah, definitely. And even though it's 2 wins to the top, it's also at the moment 2 wins to the bottom. So if they just get 1 or 2 wins more, they are most definitely out of like the relegation. So every single point matters right now. And for Dynasty, I think if they get some more wins, then playoffs should be done for them. So they will definitely want to secure them against maybe a little bit weaker teams, at least in terms of standing. And of course, to maybe even have a chance for first or second place. So Dynasty definitely doesn't want to struggle, because there could be a world where Pertinax and Reapers might stop Dynasty from reaching playoffs. So if they both play well enough and Dynasty struggles, then there could be a way out of playoffs. So every single win for them is a win for them as well.
It's definitely. Everything is still pretty open here. Of course, a small reminder, we are playing the 6th week here of matches. Next week we'll be heading into the 7th, which should on paper be the last one, but with week 4 having been delayed, we'll also have week 4 played the week after that. So we are slowly but surely racing towards the end of the split. And it's now or never to like pull off the brakes and go all in, take some wins, and save yourselves from relegation for sure, or try to grab yourself a higher spot in the standings.
Yeah.
And there we go. Champ select. Dynasty on the blue side going up against Aurora on the red side. Here we go.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, the first match of those 2 teams went to Dynasty. So Aurora have like a good reason to win it now, because they got beaten once, down 1 to get beaten twice. And there are the first couple of bands coming out with the Maokai, just a really strong jungler right now. And then I think the Nocturne is kind of a little, how's it called, target ban towards Broda, I would say. And then of course Olaf right now really strong, and I think Octumalos even played the Olaf last game, if I remember correctly. So just banning out some comfort picks definitely makes sense.
Yes, most definitely. And we also still have those well, familiar bans out here. Those most popular champions here in 2nd Division. We have the Maokai, we have the Olaf, we have the Caitlyn, always recurring. The only one for now that's not been recurring here is the Karma ban. But oh, and we have a remake here. I was going to say this Karma pick not so popular with those two teams as it is with, for example, Oma, which have Edward playing it a few times, and it being able to be a flex pick for them because you can also play it in the mid lane, or for Reapers with Lolo, who has shown some pretty strong games on that Karma. Yeah, I'm waiting.
Lolo could be the strongest Karma player in the tournament, at least in terms of solo queue. But and that's the reason why she is always banned, of course, against him, just because you don't want to face it. And I think one big question in this gem select could be the Wego, because we saw him last match day for Haxu in the mid lane as the last pick. So maybe there could be Vego bans coming out in second rotation, or maybe Vego picks. We need to see, but it could be a big factor in this game to might just put him on a champion he knows well and just on some comfort to maybe get something out of it. So that could be a strategy against a maybe a little bit stronger opponent like Dynasty.
Yes, definitely. I think you want to find the middle ground between something you're comfortable with and something you can really surprise your opponent with, because especially in the sixth week of playing, or technically fifth week of playing, you start to get to know your enemy really well, and teams are able to prepare themselves better and better, especially such well-established teams like Dynasty, who have experience in helping their players out and supporting them. You are able to strategize specifically against a team, so those surprise pick can come in very handy here.
Yeah, definitely. And there's the Ashe as a last ban coming out from Aurora. And Dynasty goes for the Varus first pick. And I think we saw plenty of games from the Dark Unique on this Varus already. So he is definitely comfort. It's definitely a comfort pick from him. And we might see a Wukong pick here for Broder, for example. That could be one way, just because Maokai is banned out. His is really powerful. Nocturne is banned out, so they might want to secure it and steal it away from Skeln. That could be a way of playing it. But of course, we saw Saya last game as first ban or something, or at least as a really, really quick ban, just because she's so powerful right now. And that's the reason why they secured for themselves. And with Citrani, they still have a little flex pick, at least. Broder plays it. And Octomatus should play it definitely as well, just because those top laner, especially Citrani, aren't that hard to play, and then you can just always swap it around if the jungle matchup isn't that favorable for you.
And now we have the Wukong being picked up for Skeln, since it hasn't been outpicked by Aurora. Aurora has to be careful, though, to not get baited maybe by this Varus, because we did already see, and specifically in the hands of Snilla, Varus being played as a support role. So they have to be really careful onto that, to not fall against a terrific pokey bot lane here. One factor to keep in mind, and maybe... No, they don't go for it. Okay, they picked the Karma. It's still gonna be a poke hellscape on the bot lane. I was gonna say they could still keep some tension up to maybe have that Varus as a flex pick. They go for the Karma pick on the bot lane. Champion also played by Snilla, of course. And since it's not been banned this time around, because it usually is, we grab it for ourselves. And Octomalus is gonna get... I have a big brain fart there. Kled, right, Kled.
And Skeln, oh no, how's it called? Skull.
Yeah, I had in my mind, I was gonna say, and here we have the Skeln pick, but I was like, Skeln is not a champion. I mean, he surely is a champion by the way he's playing, but...
Yeah, but it's Kled, and that's that really surprises me, because Kled usually is rather a counter pick in some matchups, for example, against an Olaf or something, just because of the really good anti-heal he provides against it. But we just have it as a blind pick, and there are even some madmans who play him mid lane. So Aksu might play him. I think he played one solo queue game in the last couple of games on him, so it's maybe even the Kled mid lane. Just that you guys have an eye on it. And of course, some bans are obviously there's the Rakan ban with Sayara Khan. There's just a Sintra who is really good in peeling someone like Kled away, then a really good tank who could peel Kled away, and then just some more engage against the poke lane. Varus, Karma, you don't want to see those engage supports like Nautilus. That's the reason why it's banned away. But there's the Bard for Mirai. So we have like two really huge like comfort picks with the Kled, with the Bard, just not meta, just they want to pick some spice for their own lane. So I really like this time or this draft already from Aurora, even though it's not meta.
Yes, most definitely. We answer with a Fiora on that top lane, and meanwhile, as you said, maybe that Kled might be going to the mid lane. We're leaving the surprise up on the sides of Aurora, although chances might be they get a counter pick on the mid lane.
Yeah, and the Fiora against Kled would be an interesting matchup, but like I said, that could be the Kled mid lane. So I would be excited at least to see it. And against Orianna, you could definitely do that just because she is really unmobile, so you can always run her down. And now the Akali gets locked in, so both could still decide to play Akali, both could still decide to play Kled. They can even lane swap later, so they don't need to decide it yet, and could just swap around if they are in-game, as long as they play their own champion, of course. And yeah, it's a really interesting draft by Aurora. A lot of different pieces, which usually will not get drafted together that many times, but it could definitely work, especially this Kled Sejuani combo is devastating because Kled makes 4 auto attacks in a rapid fashion, and then Sejuani can just stun a target, so that could be a weapon in those smaller skirmishes. And Bard is always a wildcard. Bard is like Blitzcrank, but in, I don't know, better or worse, it's difficult to say, but if he hits one great ult, the game is over, and if he doesn't hit this ult, or even screw his own team up with the ult, then it's really bad. So it's like Blitzcrank cooking in Wukong in team fights, like you can hurt your own team with.
It's and we've seen some really great tempered fades though here in the second division. The last time I casted and there was a Bard, we've had some beautiful ultis coming from him. So I'm always a bit hyped when I see a Bard, and I'm always a bit biased because Bard is such a fun champion, gives so much possibility to move around the map. His ultimate is so powerful when used right. Yeah, I'm really a fan of this pick. Even, I mean, unbeknownst of any other considerations, I'm always a big fan of a Bard pick.
Definitely. I mean, it's spicy, and I really like Aurora because of that they just draft those like cool team comps. Like they don't go for boring champions. They really want to win this game, and with that they just, I mean, which team would play Kled mid lane? I think no one, and they do that, and that's really respectable in my opinion. Just because they will try their hardest with those really surprising picks like the Viego last time for the mid lane, and now Haxu just plays the next really cool champion in the mid lane. So it's really nice to see. I think we have the classic Wukong Orianna from Dynasty. I think they played it a couple of times now, and yeah, it will be a banger match.
Yeah, most definitely. And we are in game now for this matchup. Dynasty versus Aurora. A match which is very important for Aurora and for which they definitely packed a chock full of surprises here. And we'll have to see if they are able to live up to that in game.
I have a really stupid question for you. Did you saw that we have those banners? I mean, those banners in game for the Elite Series. I never saw them. It's the first time I see them actively.
They're pretty new, but we might have a very spicy situation here on the bot lane as Long gets caught. A lot of damage falling onto him, and they get the first blood for Skeln.
Yeah, Skeln is a madman. I think in literally every single game I casted so far, he got first blood, or at least was was there when First Blood happens. He always goes for those bot lane gangs, in lane gangs, where he helps out and gets a kill and stuff. So this time with the invade, and it worked out. So that's pretty insane from him. But yeah, we have banners. I never saw them, and they look pretty. So I'm excited.
Yes, they're pretty recent thing, indeed. So you're not just crazy. I believe they've been here for this week, but maybe production can confirm to me since when we have them. But it's rather recent, and it's really a cool addition.
Yeah, 100%. It's so cool. I mean, I was so excited to see them. And one thing I want to analyze, if with both teams let me at least, and normally with Bard you want like a really safe ADC, like a Syria, like an Astria, just someone who can sit alone in the bot lane, little trade mid lane. Oh, it's on there actually, but they're trading so much. But I want to analyze. It's rough, man. It's rough. And Xayah normally is a safe ADC, at least with level 6. She can always like save herself. But especially against Karma, it's kind of rough, because if you play like against a Blitzcrank, against a Nautilus, and he hooks you, then you can just jump in the air with your ultimate and you are safe. But there's crap hands.
Oh yeah, we have the gang on the top lane. Is able to move fast and react fast enough with Flash and Q to not get that first stack and the stun. And that bot lane, oh, must be so frustrating.
Yeah, and like against, I'm stopping it.
Oh, now we have the fourth stack on top lane. The stun falling onto SquarePants, tries to survive, but it's not going to be enough. And the first kill on that top lane goes to Octomalus.
And that's an important one. I mean, especially like your Kali can do so much great stuff. I think if she is fat enough, she can always win the 1v1 on side lane. And then she can win against Orianna, she can win against the Varus, she can just one-shot the backline. So a fat Akali definitely is a game-winning champion. So I'm excited to see that AURORA plays around the solo lanes right now, and we probably will see more of that with Bard roaming sooner or later. And hopefully I can say what I want to say, but there could be an invade here from Wukong, but Kled is there as well.
And Kled is there as well, and he's there to intercept that invade. We are not gonna go into it further, but the bot lane is rotating with the priority they've gathered, pushing the enemies out. And we are abandoning that blue buff, it seems, on sides of AURORA.
Yeah, and Scan just knows this jungle matchup. I mean, just look at, he has double the farm of Broda, and he knows that he can play aggressively against him, especially because bot lane always has prio with Varus and Karma. And then even mid lane, even though it's tend to be dangerous for Orianna to hard push against the Kled, because then she is over pushed and might get an all-ins, but at least she can go for the prio because she is ranged against melee. And with that, she should have prio as well, and that's the reason why Scan can invade that heavily and get such a huge CS lead already against Broda. One reason why Karma is so strong against Xayah. Normally you could say she's safe against hooks and stuff, but with Karma's just running at Xayah and just pressing W, and Xayah has no dash, so she is not getting out of the root. And even though she can press ultimate, in the air she will get rooted because those chains will remain. And with that, Xayah can just always get run down by Varus and by Karma if Bard roams. So that's the reason why Bard shouldn't roam that often, at least. And so Dynasty has really a good lane matchup for that to deny those Bard roams.
Yes, definitely. And yet he's doing a really good job with the few roams he's doing. We have Rhoda here catching Snell on his way back to the top bot lane. Mirai is going to follow up, but the enemy jungler and mid lane are also at ready. But Haksu goes in here with full speed. Tries to catch Skelm. With 4 stacks, could be stunned once Broda is in range. It's getting dangerous here. The stun goes through. We have some damage falling. Is forced to flash on a turret. Nice shockwave here from Frankie, who comes in from the mid lane. Fortunately, it won't find purchase. Some damage falling. Oh, now the root maybe onto Broda, who is gonna barely survive here. Oh boy! Oh, nice Q from Dark Unique, does catch that kill.
Yeah, and I think even the Drake would have killed him, but in the end, a really good snipe there. And then, I mean, this invade kinda was pretty unlucky because Broda didn't get the stun, and then there was like this little small miscommunication because I think the ball from Orianna was on Skellen, but he flashed away, and because of that, she couldn't do a 3-man shockwave and needed to wait for this 1-man shockwave. And now the little 1v1.
Yeah, the little 1v1 on the top lane. As a duel is initiated from Squarepants, but Octomala decides to disengage in that moment. Something that Nakali can very easily do. I mean, he's got a pretty good matchup here on the top lane. With all of his mobility, he's able to dance around his own weak spot. It's definitely practical.
Yeah. And one thing in terms of items I really like is that Octomalos already bought some magic resistance. Just because it's not the best matchup, and especially if we just look at Octomalos, he already bought some magic penetration. And without your magic resistance, you would get so much damage from this Akali. But with that, you are countering the boots of Octomalos at least a little bit. And so the trades are getting a little bit better at least. And then, of course, there's Sejuani in the jungle, so a lot of AP damage as well. And in those 2v1 situations, you can maybe survive against those 2 AP dealers.
Yes. And now Octomala's going for that early pen also. Already Sox being his first item. Trying to really get that early aggression and advantage there. And we can see that the damage is still very much there.
And those trades are really annoying. I mean, as a melee champion against Akali, you always just get Q'd and auto-attack and Q'd and auto-attack. and then when you start to trade against her, she just sits in the shroud. So she will Q you twice, and then you are annoyed, and then you try to all in her, and then she just sits in the shroud, and you can't damage her, and then she ults you, and you are dead. Yeah.
And here we come in because Dynasty was doing the Herald, and Aurora decide to interrupt. That Skell now having used Cataclysm is going to get caught. Oh, nice shockwave here from Frankie, but it's not enough. Skell is going to fall, and now the next to be is Squarepants, who does save himself barely or not, but gets a return kill. Now he tried to get out a kill. Snilla going all in, catching that kill on Mira, but he's not going to survive either. And that's a very nice play from both teams, being able to get some kills here and there, but 3-2 for Aurora in the end.
And just look at this clap. I mean, he first found the engage with his charge, and after that, after this really well-timed 3-man shock, oh, the tower dive.
Tower dive here from Haksu. I mean, Kled, a very good champion for tower dive. It's not gonna be enough with the Q. Frankie was able to get some distance there.
Right. I mean,
oh, we tried to get the kill on Hux, who's already very low, but Mira is there to help him. The root is not gonna find purchase. You have to fall back here. 2v3 is too dangerous. Both teams playing really well right now. Beautiful.
Yeah. There's no gold lead. They are like the same kills, no turrets. And at least one Drake. Can he mount up? Close.
Yeah.
Nothing happened.
Barely didn't mount up here on the bot lane. Yeah, I mean, it's rare to see that you have a top lane situation on the bot lane.
Yeah.
But it's exactly what we're having here. Oh, now Snilla coming back to help his AD carry, maybe get that kill on Lon, who's a bit too far away. He's gonna ult, not able to dodge that root, getting a lot of damage, but now Mira maybe just in time to save his AD carry. No, he flashed to confirm that kill on sides of Dynasty.
Yeah, but that's the interaction I wanted to see, and I already mentioned that if Xayah is alone against the spot lane, she will just get run down, and that's the reason why Bart can't really let her alone, because Karma can do that every single time, and even though it was close because of flash, heal, and the feathers, so there was a lot of damage.
Oh, here we have the Glacial Prison on the mid lane on to Frank, who's taking a lot of damage from Hux as well as Broda, and he is not gonna survive.
What a devastating engagement. I mean, I called it in the gem select that this duo is so strong. I mean, the instant stun, and both can just engage from miles. I mean, Kled can really engage from miles, and Sejuani at least can dash and throw the bowler, so that's a lot of traveling through the air, so they can really try to catch some targets, and especially against someone without flash, it's always a kill. And even though Orianna could maybe flash out of the bowler, so she could dodge Sejuani ult, Kled will always reach her. And then it's too late, because when he reaches you, he gets the 4-out attacks, and the stun comes from Broda. So even with flash, you might not survive that. And they can just do that every single time if the ultimate's up.
Yeah, absolutely terrific, and they do use it to good. They make good use of it, because they just grab a kill. Broda's ultimate is already almost up soon, and they can just do it again.
Yeah.
Now, Drake is going to be up soon. Both teams seems very interested in it. And I want to mention, you got to give it to Haxu with his bit surprising picks here, working really well.
Yeah, it's one of the guys who plays it. So normally you will not expect it. I mean, if you scout him a little bit, if you see what he is training in solo queue, for example, you would have seen that he plays Kled. But who would play Kled mid lane in a competitive match where you need to win, basically? And Haxu does it. I mean, he did it last time with his crazy Viego mid lane, and it worked out against the Swain. And this time it works out against Frankie's Orianna, which was basically always strong. I mean, Frankie's Orianna worked in most of the games right now, so he is pretty well trained on this champion, and still Haxu basically knows how to play those matchups, and he's not even behind. And that's the amazing part of range versus melee. If you get ahead as the melee champion, you can just always run the range champion down, because then the whole advantage of being ranged isn't there anymore.
Yes, absolutely. I also want to mention Snilla actually doing a really good game. You've mentioned the fact on that bot lane, but he's able to follow up on Mirai's roams and be back on the bot lane on time, just doing great work on his Karma there.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, we saw Snilla's Cillian, for example, which even got an MVP, I guess. And he's just really an amazing support player, always knowing where he needs to be and when he needs to roam. And yeah, just definitely a big part why this Dynasty lineups works so good like it does.
Now, pretty calm phases of the game. Aurora sitting really well right now, although there's no gold lead. They do have 2 Drakes, and definitely some pressure to be applied there. Well, they took the latest. Now there's nothing big to do on the map, so no teams do anything. They're so closely tied that a wrong move from any of those teams could mean the end for them, because the other one could capitalize on it very strongly. So they're playing very defensively, not looking for something where there is nothing to look for.
Yeah, that could be a long game if both teams play it cleanly and calmly, to not give anything away. I mean, gold is kind of even. I mean, it's kind of the same number, so it should be even. And because of that, you could maybe talk about scaling, because if it's a long game, then of course scaling will be a huge factor in this game. And I mean, we see a Fiora. Fiora is always like one of the best scaling champions in game, so that's definitely something. And Orianna, Karma, Varus, like, they all really scale well enough, especially Orianna with Wukong together, so that should be a good scaling team comp. On the flip side, we have like all champions of Aurora kind of scale well enough that they are not bad in the late game, but I think that scaling should be on the side for Dynasty, but it's a close call. So we have not a typical early mid game comp against a late game comp where you can say, yeah, one team is outscaling the other, but I would say the Dynasty at least is outscaling it a little bit, but it's hard to say. What is your opinion?
Yeah, I absolutely agree that it's very tight. Although I really like myself some endgame Akali gameplay.
Oh yeah,
Very strong, can be absolutely terrific, played well. And currently Octomalus is also sitting really well in terms of stats. Could think about getting a classic Akali Darkseal at some point, which I think would give them some edge on there. But I can only agree that it's going to be very tight in the end, and most probably a true skill matchup here.
Yeah, I mean, like you said it, I think Akali definitely scales better in teamfight late game. So, I mean, she can just one-shot the whole backline, basically, if she plays it correctly. While while Fiora probably can win the side lane 1v1, and if you just let her alone for a minute or something, then your base is broken. So, and I think that's something that Akali can't do. So they scale at different, in different types of the game, basically. So they both scale really well, and it comes down to how they team will succeed it. Like it's basically with Kled. I wouldn't say that Kled. Oh, they could. No,
we have a small situation.
Yeah, nothing has happened. So I think Kled, like a lot of Bruiser, don't really scale the greatest. Like in terms of scaling, he will build some tank items later, and hopefully just is able to one-shot like the backline. But like a well-timed Orianna shockwave, especially with the setup, with the Varus ult who stuns the people, and after that the knockup from Wukong.
Ooh, a close situation here as Axu is almost being called out, but with Temperate Fate we find the engage on sides of Aurora. Snilla has to flash out very low. Brora in the middle of it is going to fall first, but so is Snilla, who is very low. Now Octomalus having joined has to be careful because he is split from his team, and that's a kill going to Frankie. Situation is looking really bad for Aurora right now, who decide to disengage from this team fight as Dynasty is able to take the third drag of the game.
Yeah, and I think really important in this team fight was Dark Unique. I mean, this man didn't got threatened and just could kill one by one, basically, or at least could shred them one by one. Because if you don't kill this on-it Varus, then you can't really win the team fight. And normally with Akali, with Kled, you have the chance to kill a Varus, but they couldn't really get into the backline and just focus down the support, which basically is never the best idea, at least, because after the support there are still 4 carries left, and if you have not the burst or not the ultimate to kill the carries, then those team fights are really, really rough. And with that, after the initial engage and after Dark Unique didn't got engaged, he could just clean a team fight up. So really well played by him to have this position to survive everything, and then of course to deal all the damage in the world to carry this team fight.
Yes, and I think what played really well into Dynasty's hands was the vision they had around that Baron pit, because they were able to suss out that Haxu was already in the back line, which forced Aurora kind of to move to action, on which Dynasty reacted really well, because they were able to get almost the pincer onto Haxu, forcing Aurora to engage, and they were able to use the fact that Aurora maybe didn't expect to have to engage this early. Octomalus came late to the fight. They played this overall really well on a very high level.
Yeah, definitely. Was a really, really well played team fight by both sides. I mean, if a 5v5 team fight ends with like 3 kills and the other 7 people survive, then it's basically a team fight where they did the best they could and just disengaged, and like it worked out basically for both teams, just trading one for two, basically. In the end, of course, for Dynasty, it was a good thing, because they not only got 1 kill more, but also got one of the drakes.
Yep.
And in this case, they can now stack those Infernal Drakes, and like it's always with dragons. Normally, if you have the soul, you have some bad dragons, or just the dragon one time, and then sometimes you have one dragon 2 times, but in this case, Dynasty could just stack up 4 Infernal Drakes, which would grant them so many stats. Like, that would be insane, especially for the Shockwave or for the Fiora AD scalings, and that would really be amazing to stack those 4 Drakes now. So that could be a big factor in the fights later.
Was it planned all along by Dynasty?
Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows? But game's still looking very even. Aurora slight advantage, but I mean, it's League of Legends. Slight advantages don't mean much in the end.
Yeah, it's definitely a fight on knife's edge right now. I mean, they both don't want to do any misplay, and like we saw this the one time they fought was with the Bard ult and with the engage from Aurora. So, but besides that, they do not really try to go for crazy all-ins or crazy catches. I mean, you could really see, like in solo queue, that Kled just would ult Orianna on the side lane just to do it, just to maybe get the solo bolo. But Kled in this game just keeps it calm. Just why should you risk it? There could always be a supporter in the backline and stuff. So both teams just really play it nice and clean right now, which could mean for some viewers out there that this game is kind of boring because nothing happens. But actually, it's really nice to see both teams just clearing vision and just knowing when to maybe engage.
Find a catch here, because Snilla was trying to get stunned, and a lot of damage falling while the rest of the team joins in. Beautiful engage from Skeln, but it's not enough. We get 2 kills on sides of Aurora, and this is very good for them, as Drake is gonna spawn in, well, 40 seconds by Diane. The rest of Dynasty is going to be there, but Baron is there, and there's still a lot of stuff that we can do. Push some wave. I think they're gonna go for that Baron, though.
Yeah, that would be one play. Maybe they get a catch here.
Yeah, we're looking to bait them. At least they have the upper hand now. 5 versus 3. You can do pretty much anything you want in the game.
I mean 4-man Shockwave, nothing happened. But 4-man Shockwave. I mean, Frankie did find it. In the end, it was just to poke them, but here comes...
Yeah, they find the engage here on Dark UniQ, who is gonna block here. Shutdown going to Octomatters, and they're gonna continue on that edge. That was nicely played. They just temporized, waited a bit, set a trap, looked for that engage, and now they have Dark UniQ eliminated. They can go for that Drake. With too many worries. Skeln is gonna look for the steal, maybe? Hesitation is there. No, we give up that Drake. Giving soul point to Aurora, which gives them a lot of leverage for the next fight, especially now with those technically 3 picks, although not consecutive in the immediate, giving them though a 2k gold lead, which is already not too bad.
Yeah, and I mean, it's so easy for them to play. They have like a long range engage on support. Just if Tempered Fate hits someone, then it's always good. Like in the last team fight, we saw that Tempered Fate just was placed or Dark Unique. He needed to flash out, so he had no flash for the catch after that, where he died. And then you have like the long range engage from Kled, from Sejuani, and even Akali has a lot of reach. So there's definitely plenty of room to get a catch happening. Meantime, the Dynasty really needs to just come close enough with Orianna, with Wukong, or even with a Varus ult, but that could be hard to hit, because the one target you want to hit, like the Tsaya, just can jump in the air, and the other guys are just mobile enough to maybe dodge it. So that could be hard to land.
Definitely. And now Aurora, now that they know that they for sure are slightly ahead, start to look for the more risky plays here and there, try to find stuff. They're starting to look for something.
And you see Hux's move on, just sitting in the flank and just knowing that if he gets a gold ultimate and if he gets a good catch there, then it could be a winning team fight. So he just looks for that, and just having this eye to to those spots where you can maybe get in with a great angle. It's good to have as a player.
Yes, definitely. Brother who almost got catched there. I could feel the sweat falling down from the spine.
Yeah, it's Sejuani. She's tanky. She's tanky enough to survive something. But yeah, it can backfire definitely, especially if you are too deep and then like they have really good CC with Varus ult. After that, Kawa can land the root, and like that's basically the way how to kill the Sejuani there, especially because she didn't bought Mercury's, so she can be stunned for a long time, but Dynasty basically just has 2 stuns, so it's good to not buy Mercs against not that many CC spells, but that's the reason why she could have caught there.
We have the Baron move from Aurora. They are expecting Dynasty to come. You have the TP coming in from Octomalus, also coming in from Squarepins. I think we're in for a big team fight here at the Baron. We have the Tempered Fate, which hit Dark UniQ, which is rather huge, but Octomalus all alone in the backline is gonna die. Meanwhile, we cannot kill Skalm in time, because with Cyclone he's able to temporize a lot, and this is looking really good for Dynasty as they now eliminate Haxu, and Broda now all alone is gonna try to flee, but Snilla is not gonna let him do so easily. In the meantime, the rest of the team is gonna take that Baron, and Dynasty was able to take back control of this game now for a bit.
Yeah, and what a team fight from Dynasty. I mean, you can see that they really communicate well. So basically, team fight started, Octomalus was in the backline, so 4 people stand around this Akali Shroud and just peel her away, and after that, they just focus down on the enemy's backline, and basically Wukong surviving for as long as he can, and then there was like the 4-man Shockwave. So this Wukong knockout into Shockwave worked really well. And like one problem that Dynasty has is that they can't really engage on their own, but if they get engaged and everybody gets close to them, of course something like Orianna Shockwave on Wukong can do a lot of work. So if they survive this initial first engage, then they can definitely do something in those teamfights.
Yes. Now with next Dragon up soon, Aurora is going to be looking for that soul, but Dynasty is definitely going to be looking to deny that soul. Tempered Fate again on Dark UniQ on point from Mira, and here we have the engage from Aurora. This time all together should be able to do some damage, but the damage from Dynasty is just insane as they take a first and a second kill. Now Octomalus is forced to use his Amazonius, is going to die as well, and this is again looking good for Dynasty, who now once again almost clean up the whole floor with Aurora and go for their second Infernal Drake.
Dark Unique is so clean. I mean, you can see that in every single team fight. He is the main focus point for both teams. The Tempered Fate, or again, hits and hits and hits on Dark Unique, and Akali is in the backline. She tries her hardest to kill this ADC, but in the end, he still survives. In the end, he still carries those team fights. I mean, he survived with maybe 10 health or something, but in the end, he survived it and carried the team fight. And it was basically at the first catch where the dragon got where the soul point got secured, where he died after the Tempered Fate, but in every single other team fight he basically played it clean enough to survive and to do all the damage. So he is definitely one of the carries in this game right now. And I mean, a lot is on the shoulders of Wukong and of Frankie, just because they need to find the initial damage, they need to find the initial engage, but after that, cleanup time from Varus works every single time.
You've also got to give it to Frankie and Skalm. They're always able to win so much time, because we've seen it twice in a row now, where Aurora actually had some pretty good engages, a good start. They have the Tempered Fate on Dark UniQ, which is perfect, the perfect window to engage. But they're able to stop the whole team of Aurora, and Octomalus is all alone in the backline, and alone he's not going to do that much yet. Now we find the catch on Broda on the top lane, going to get that kill. Probably, oh, nice shockwave here, dealing a lot of damage onto Mira and Octomalus, who is forced to flee. And now Dynasty are able to take that tier 2 turret on the top lane. And, I mean, Aurora gave them a bite at their hand, and Dynasty just said, give me the whole arm, and they're now pushing that top lane in. God damn it.
Yeah, I mean, there was a time where Aurora definitely could have won this game, but right now it all slipped away. 10k gold now after a really, really close game around the first 20 minutes or something. But now Dynasty definitely has it in their own hands to win it now. And like I said, maybe they're outskating by just a tiny pinch. And even though Fiora likes to split push, they really use her as a frontliner, as a really good tool to get some attention from the peel, so that other carries can shine. And in the end, Fiora isn't the greatest team fighting champion, but still she's there. She still does a lot of damage, and they not play it like the normal split push team comp. They really play it with the Swombo combo in mind, and Fiora always push out the side lanes, and after that just roams to her team, and that really works right now.
I think this Fiora is especially useful in this scenario because Octomal's technically Aurora's teamfight is almost always perfect. Octomalus is in the backline, just the rest of the team can't follow up, and I think this Fiora comes in handy so much in the backline because you can just proc ultimate on that Octomalus, and once you get it procced, which is going to go really easy in this chaos, he's not going to be able to kill your teammates because of all the healing.
That could be a time where...
Yes, we have the catch maybe on SquarePants, able to dodge the Glacial Prison. They do look for it, get the summoners out, but the Fiora is able to flee. In the meantime, Dynasty is going to look to keep pushing on that top and mid lane. I think that's definitely what Aurora needs to do. They need to find the catches. Here they might have a very good opportunity on Skaln. Do not go for it. Nice shockwave again. And Frankie doing a lot of damage on lawn. Roda now looking find some purchase. Doesn't though.
And I think Dynasty sometimes has a really good communication, and sometimes it doesn't really work because SquarePants was a little bit too high on the bot side, so they had not the pressure which they needed to punish the four-man movement on Fiora. So while SquarePants needed to flash away and to get out of the situation, the Dynasty couldn't get anything in the meantime. So if they had just a little bit better team play, then they might had enough pressure for SquarePants not to get caught. And then even like this shockwave on Saya, like if they communicated a little bit better, then they can just one-shot her. But in this case, nobody really engaged on her.
And now we have Aurora, which slipped up here. Dynasty could get a free Drake, and Aurora decided we'll guard the dragon, but Dynasty is there just in time for the spawn. The timing is perfect down there. Now with Mirai, who was forced to back because of the getting caught there, Aurora is really on the back foot for this dragon, and Dynasty picks it up. Soul Point themselves, and now 3 Infernal Drakes. And they are all looking for the engage here on the enemy team. Aurora is forced to fall back and use everything in their power in order to get back to base, to try and defend it against the Baron. And Dynasty, which is currently at the peak of its might in this game.
Yeah, definitely. And now the siege is on, and you can't really defend against this Baron buff, and you can't really defend in a 5v5 teamfight, so they need to fight it now.
Yes, they are looking for it, and Dynasty is just sieging that turret here with 2 cannon mins. They can easily do so. We do try to find purchase here on sides of Haku. First turret of the Nexus Destroyer. Now we look for the engage. Nice temperate fate here again from Mira, but it's not enough. Skaln is up to win some time with the Cyclone. We proc his GA though, which is looking really good. He does go back in with the second Cyclone, is able to survive, and they are picking up the res of Aurora. That's an ace for Dynasty as they finish the second game of tonight.
Yeah, what a wonderful victory there from Dynasty. It was close until the 20-minute mark, and after that, just with 1 or 2 good team fights from Dynasty, they really got back into the game after it looked a little bit darker, just because they traded 1 for 2 and then lost the soul point Drake and stuff. But especially at this Baron, where they really could fight back, and where they got the ace and the Baron, They just did everything correct to win the game, and in the end, it was just clean game from them, and really well deserved.
Yes, definitely well played here from Dynasty. Starting from the back and shuffling their way to this win. And this puts them back in the race along AURORA Esports and Drift Slavs. I believe they must have had a rough time at the start, seeing as the win could slip up, but they managed to get back in that in the good graces of this top 3 first position. But Drift Slavs might still be able to exert themselves and get back on their first definite spot, because they will be playing next against Pertinax. Will Pertinax be able to demark themselves from Reapers Gaming and get in that 4th spot officially and throw down Rift back on the same level as AURORA and Dynasty, or will Rift Slavs be able to prevail in their 1st spot and deny Pertinax to get ahead of Reapers Gaming? We'll see that in a short bit after this break.